In the headlines of this hour on VTV News, updates on Typhoon Yagi in northern Vietnam. And later on, Vietnam's drive for integrated organic farming. In our world's news, Super Typhoon Yagi kills at least 2 and injures 92 in China.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Good afternoon. It is currently 3 p.m. local time and you're tuning in to 30 minutes of VTV News. I'm Dylan Lê with the latest updates. Now, Prime Minister Phie has issued Urgent Directive number 88, calling on provinces, cities, and relevant ministries to respond to Typhoon Yagi and its associated flooding. Yagi made landfall in the Gulf of Tonkin on the night of September the 6th. Starting September the 7th, the typhoon is expected to impact northern provinces, bringing strong winds and heavy rainfall. Widespread precipitation is forecast to range from 100 to 350 millimeters, with some areas potentially receiving over 500 millimeters. The severe weather conditions could lead to flooding in urban areas and low-lying regions, as well as landslides and flash floods in the Midlands and mountainous areas. The Prime Minister has instructed all ministries, sectors, and local authorities to rigorously implement previously issued Directives number 86 and 87 and has tasked local authorities to issue response measures based on the typhoon's developments in their respective areas. This includes advising the public to limit outdoor activities and considering school closures due to the adverse weather. The Prime Minister has also assigned Deputy Prime Ministers to directly oversee the implementation of this directive. At the regular August government meeting on Saturday morning, Prime Minister Phie highlighted the complex and severe situation caused by Typhoon Yagi. He ordered the creation of a steering committee in Hải Phòng with Deputy Prime Minister Trần Hồng Hà leading operations to respond more effectively to the typhoon's impact. The Prime Minister also instructed the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development and other relevant ministries to form inspection teams. These teams will oversee and coordinate typhoon response efforts across various localities, ensuring swift handling of emerging issues. He emphasized that the typhoon's aftermath could bring heavy rainfall, stressing the need for accurate forecasting and strict adherence to previously issued directives. The Prime Minister also commanded the Ministry of Defense and the Ministry of Public Security for mobilizing over 450,000 personnel and more than 10,000 vehicles for typhoon response. The Prime Minister urged all ministries, agencies, and localities to continue their disaster prevention and recovery efforts immediately, with no delay or negligence, stressing the importance of ensuring public safety and minimizing damage to both public and private property. As of September the 7th, Typhoon Yagi has made landfall in several northern provinces of Vietnam, bringing heavy rain and strong winds. Authorities are urging residents to stay indoors for their safety. More in the following story.
In Hải Phòng City, Typhoon Yagi has brought heavy rain and winds up to level 7, with gusts reaching level 8. The storm is directly affecting Bạch Long Vĩ Island with winds of level 12 to 13, gusting to level 14. These intense conditions are severely damaging infrastructure, homes, trees, and crops on the island. As of September the 7th, the storm is expected to make landfall along the coastal areas from Quảng Ninh to Thái Bình, with winds up to level 12 and gusts to level 14. Residents are advised to stay indoors and follow local directives.
On Cô Island in Quảng Ninh province, the storm has caused significant damage, with winds reaching level 11 and gusting to level 14, accompanied by heavy rain. Wind speeds on Cô Island have intensified rapidly, increasing by 1 level in just 20 minutes. The storm is expected to pass over Cô on September 7th. Residents are required to remain in place for their safety.
In Thái Bình province, rainfall and wind speeds are steadily increasing. The Anhai district is experiencing strong winds at level 8, gusting to level 10, with conditions likely to worsen as Typhoon Yagi moves inland. At Gonvang Beach, water levels had surged to within 100 meters of the shore by 10 a.m. on September the 7th. Waves are currently at level 2, but are expected to rise by another 2 meters. Winds are at level 7, gusting to level 10, causing widespread tree falls and road blockages, leading to potential significant damage throughout the area.
Due to the impact of Typhoon Yagi, airlines have cancelled numerous flights on September the 7th. Vietnam Airlines is expected to cancel over 110 flights and adjust the schedules of its operations. Specifically, the airline will cancel 34 flights and modify the schedules of 78 other domestic and international flights. To ensure flight safety, Bamboo Airways plans to adjust its flight operations in areas affected by Typhoon Yagi. Vietjet has also cancelled 18 flights to and from Haiphong or Cat B Airport and flights to and from Hanoi Nội Bài Airport, and suspended 4 flights to and from Thanh Hóa or Thọ Xuân Airport. Flight times may change further as the typhoon progresses and authorities make decisions. Passengers traveling to or from affected airports should monitor updates closely and be prepared to adjust their plans. Airlines will notify customers of any additional schedule changes using the contact information provided on their tickets. Due to at least 2 people died and 92 were injured in China's Hainan as Super Typhoon Yagi struck the southern island province, packing winds of up to 234 kilometers per hour, state news agency Xinhua reported on Saturday. Trees swayed violently amidst intense winds and rain as Super Typhoon Yagi made landfall in China's island province of Hainan on Friday. More than an hour after Yagi's arrival, Hainan saw power outages that affected 830,000 households in the province. After initially striking Wenchang in Hainan, Super Typhoon Yagi made its second landfall in Sichuan County, Guangdong Province on Friday night. Over 1 million people were evacuated from affected areas. Nearly 85,000 fishing boats sought shelter in harbors. The province suspended 72 out of its 94 waterway passenger routes and canceled at least 141 pairs of high-speed trains. Schools in 10 cities across Guangdong also closed temporarily. The super typhoon is now heading toward Vietnam. As winds and rainfall subside in China, road repairs and rescue efforts are underway in the affected provinces. Residents in flood-prone regions of Thailand are urged to stay vigilant and be on high alert as thunderstorms and heavy rainfall are expected to batter the north, northeast, east, and southern parts of the country this weekend. The wet weather is being driven by a strong southwest monsoon over the Andaman Sea and the Gulf of Thailand, coupled with spillover effects from Super Typhoon Yagi. According to Thailand's meteorological department, waves in the Andaman Sea and the upper Gulf of Thailand are expected to be strong, reaching heights of 2 to 3 meters, while in the lower Gulf of Thailand, waves will be 1 to 2 meters high. Ships in these areas are advised to sail with caution and avoid regions experiencing thunderstorms. Small boats in the Andaman Sea and upper Gulf of Thailand should refrain from leaving shore until September the 8th. Now moving on to other news, at the government's regular August meeting, chaired by Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính, officials reported positive and comprehensive economic and social performance across all sectors for August and the first 8 months of the year. Vietnam has maintained macroeconomic stability, kept inflation under control, and secured key economic balances. Industrial growth reached 8.6% for the first 8 months, while the August Purchasing Managers Index stood at 52.4, the second highest in Southeast Asia. Exports increased by nearly 16%, imports rose by almost 18%, and trade surplus exceeded $19 billion. State budget revenue grew by nearly 18% year-on-year, while foreign direct investment, or FDI, reached over $20.5 billion, up 7%, and realized FDI amounted to over $14 billion, an 8% increase and the highest in 5 years. Concluding the meeting, the Prime Minister commended the efforts of ministries, localities, citizens, and businesses, but also emphasized the need to remain vigilant against ongoing challenges and complexities. He called for continued growth stimulation, flexible monetary policy management, an annual credit growth target of around 15%, and close coordination with fiscal policies. He also stressed the importance of focusing on new growth drivers such as innovation, digital transformation, and artificial intelligence. On Saturday morning, during a meeting with President Umaro Sissoco Embalo of Guinea-Bissau, National Assembly Chairman Chen Thanh-Mẫn emphasized Vietnam's strong commitment to maintaining friendly and cooperative relations with African countries, particularly Guinea-Bissau. He proposed enhancing cooperation between the two parliaments, including exchanges of delegations, sharing legislative experiences, and coordinating at international forums. The National Assembly chairman also suggested boosting economic and trade cooperation and invited the Speaker of the Guinea-Bissau People's National Assembly to make an official visit to Vietnam. President Umaro Sissoco Embalo expressed gratitude for Vietnam's inspirational role in the struggle for national liberation and expressed a desire to deepen comprehensive cooperation with Vietnam, especially in the parliamentary field. The General Statistics Office on Friday released its report on the socio-economic situation in August and the first 8 months of this year. From this month onwards, the data will be available until the last day of the month. According to the new regulations in Decree number 62, the reporting period is also on the 6th instead of the 29th as before.
The Vietnam Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index reached 52.4 points in August, the fifth consecutive month above the 50-point threshold.
What we see coming forward is that since there was a recovery, a very big rebound of exports, internationally we expect trade growth to moderate a bit. So therefore we expect also that Vietnam's exports will moderate a bit. It will continue to grow, but it will be a bit more moderate than what we've seen in the first half of the year.
In August, the total trade turnover of goods reached nearly $71 billion, up 13.5% year-on-year. This figure reached more than $511 billion in the first 8 months of the year, up 16.7% over the same period last year. The trade balance of goods had a surplus of more than $19 billion. Total registered FDI capital in Vietnam reached $20.52 billion, and realized FDI capital reached $14.15 billion, up 7% and 8%, respectively, over the same period last year. This is the highest realized FDI capital in 8 months in the past 5 years.
And perhaps those that do not want to adhere to the strict standards that an eco-industrial park would apply on those investors, perhaps those investors are no longer the right investors. I believe Vietnam today has very cheap electricity, 25% cheaper than China. It has still an abundance of water.
The state budget revenue in August is estimated at more than $4 million. The total state budget revenue in the first 8 months of 2024 is estimated at nearly $53 billion, an increase of 17.8% over the same period last year.
Organic agriculture is gaining momentum across Vietnam, driven by increasing market demands. In central Vietnam, innovative collaborations between businesses and farmers are yielding promising results in sustainable production. Notably, some products have secured U.S. organic certification, a major milestone for market expansion.
In Guangxi province, a local enterprise has partnered with farmers to cultivate nearly 160 hectares of organic rice following VTVgap standards. This partnership has yielded remarkable benefits for farmers. Currently, Guangxi boasts 1,100 hectares of organic rice and is exploring other organic models, including various crops and medicinal plants.
Our yields reach 5.5 to 6 tons per hectare, and my family's total income for this season is nearly 25,000 USD.
Our goal for organic rice is to meet US and EU standards. We are initially targeting Vietnam's market, but we also have international partners who have visited and placed orders.
In Quảng Bình, the focus is on developing organic fruit models such as red flesh jackfruit, oranges, guavas, pomelos, and sugar apples, which have proven to be economically beneficial.
On my 7-hectare land, I produce up to 150 tons during peak years, generating nearly 130,000 US dollars in revenue.
We advise local farmers and authorities to focus on planning concentrated cultivation areas, developing brands, and creating regional codes to enhance value.
Businesses are increasingly partnering with farmers throughout the entire process, from cultivation to marketing, ensuring a steady supply of high-quality organic exports that meet market demand.
Coming up next on VTV News. Villagers preserve Gurnia forest as sacred treasure. And later on, VTV boosts viewer engagement with innovative digital strategies. Welcome back to VTV News Live. Across many regions, digital platforms are now bridging the gap between government services and the public. In the past, citizens had to visit government offices to report issues or access public services. Today, digital citizen apps allow these tasks to be accomplished anytime and anywhere, with added digital conveniences integrated into the platforms.
With digital citizen applications, people can quickly report issues to the authorities. The information is immediately posted publicly on the app, allowing users to track and monitor the status of their reports.
When I report an issue using this app, it becomes visible to all citizens and relevant authorities. It's processed quickly and efficiently by the concerned units.
Đình Ý no longer needs to visit government offices for administrative procedures. He can now handle these tasks from anywhere using a mobile app. This application offers simplicity, convenience, and speed, saving considerable time and effort compared to previous methods.
I open the app, enter my application code, and complete the process in just a few simple steps. It's very convenient and straightforward.
Digital platforms now offer access to cultural and social activities, enhancing residents' quality of life. These apps serve as valuable tools for accessing information on health, education, traffic, and live camera feeds, while also enabling various online services. Many regions are actively promoting digital citizen apps to boost public service efficiency and foster stronger connections between citizens and government.
We support citizens in accessing and submitting administrative procedures online, with a focus on training local digital teams to provide hands-on assistance.
Apps like iHanoi, Huế S, Yên Bài S, My Ninh Bình, and Long An Digital have become integral to the daily lives of millions. These digital platforms create an interactive environment that enhances the efficiency and quality of government services while improving citizens' lives.
Gia trees, also known as wild almond, are a symbol of the Central Highlands region. In Hoa Mỹ Village, Bình Định Province, there is a Gia forest that has grown for over 100 years. These trees are regarded as a sacred treasure of the village, and locals have protected them for generations.
Gia Trees provide locals with cool shade, as if they were protecting the entire village. Their trunks branch out into large arms that can reach several meters in length. Often considered a symbol of the Central Highlands, Gia trees are also known as lonely trees due to their typically solitary growth. However, in Hoa Mi village, more than 30 Gia trees grow together cooperatively, forming a forest.
Local villagers have preserved Gia tree for generations, as the forest is our sacred treasure.
For decades, the residents of Hoa Mi village have treated the Gia forest as a sacred, restricted area. Neither villagers nor outsiders are permitted to encroach upon the forest land. Anyone who violates these village rules faces criticism and is held accountable for their illegal actions.
We always remind our children and grandchildren to preserve the local culture and traditions, including protecting the Gia trees.
The beauty of the ancient Gia forest has left a lasting impression on many visitors to Hoa Mi village. Local authorities have supported residents in nurturing and preserving the forest for future generations.
On September the 7th, 1970, Vietnam Television, or VTV, broadcast its first live television program to Vietnamese audiences. 54 years later, the national broadcaster continued to thrive and adapt to changing audience expectations. In the digital era, as media consumption trends evolve, VTV has explored numerous ways to develop compelling, diverse content tailored to digital platforms, all to attract and retain viewers.
VTV's latest weather news about Super Typhoon Yagi has gone viral on TikTok, raking in millions of views. The growth of social media has forced the television industry to undergo a fundamental shift.
VTV has created engaging videos that are easy to consume as they sum up a story's key points in a very short amount of time.
Vietnam Television always delivers authentic and unbiased news to its audience, keeping the public up to date about current events. As a result, VTV remains the go-to source of information for Vietnamese people.
To reach a wider audience, VTV has developed diverse content tailored to digital platforms. For example, breaking news, which features live broadcasts and live events, has boosted audience engagement on social media platforms.
Viewers are not often interested in all topics. Therefore, before live streaming on social media platforms, we have to conduct surveys to learn more about the viewing habits and preferences of audiences.
We can check the number of video views and receive audience feedback immediately. Based on this data, we can adjust or create new formats and cater to all audience groups and tastes.
Vietnam Television also developed the VTVgo application, which allows viewers to access streaming services continually and inexpensively through various smart devices.
I always tune into VTV programs. I'm really happy that VTV is thriving and diversifying its services.
With innovative strategies, Vietnam Television has affirmed its position in the television industry. Consequently, VTV's digital content has become an indispensable part of people's lives in the digital era.
Coming up next, displaced Palestinians long for permanent ceasefire. And later on, August, U.S. payrolls short of expectations. Now moving on to our world news, displaced Palestinians have expressed their longing for a permanent ceasefire after 11 months of conflict in Gaza. They have been facing many difficulties in their daily lives amidst the war, from struggling in the heat to being unable to find enough food, water, or medicine.
Since the Gaza war began, this woman was displaced with her family more than 8 times, each time seeking shelter in a different tent in various parts of the enclave. She finally settled in a small tent in the courtyard of the Al-Aqsa Mosque in Deir al-Bawa.
What is our fault? A war was imposed on us. But enough is enough. We are displaced civilians, seeking safety in our tents. I mean, all day long, we run after food, after water, amidst diseases. One of my family members has a heart condition, my granddaughter, and we can't find a cure for her. I am sick, I have high blood pressure and diabetes. I can't find medication. We are tired.
Living in makeshift tents and hollowed-out buildings after months of strikes, Palestinians hope the temporary pause in hostilities instated to enable a polio vaccination will turn into a more permanent one.
Since the ceasefire is implemented to vaccinate the children against polio, somehow there is some hope for the people. However, this is not the desired hope that we want. We are a people who love peace, and we hope to God that everyone lives in peace.
On Thursday, vaccinations began in Rafah and Khan Yunis in the south of Gaza, both areas that have been battered by the war and that have hosted tens of thousands of people who have fled other parts. The war in Gaza was triggered by Hamas' attack on southern Israel on October 7. Since then, more than 40,800 Palestinians have been killed in Gaza, according to the local health ministry.
U.S. employment increased less than expected in August, but a drop in the jobless rate to 4.2% suggested that an orderly labor market slowdown continued. According to data released on Friday by the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, employers added 142,000 jobs in August, representing fewer new positions than the 160,000 that had been forecasted by economists. Unemployment eased slightly to 4.2%, in line with expectations. Job growth in construction and healthcare were among the bright spots in last month's hiring, with industries adding 34,000 and 31,000 jobs respectively. Over the past 12 months, average hourly earnings have increased by 3.8%. And up next is the weather forecast. And that is all that we have for this hour on VTV News. To rewatch our program, you can visit our website, our YouTube channel, or download a mobile app VTVgo for more. Thank you for watching, and goodbye for now.